Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. And in this episode, this episode, I'm terribly sorry, my eyes are a little bit itchy. Should be fine now, but my hands were washed, so there's no kitty stuff on it, kitty fur, nothing of that sort. Completely fine. Anyways, getting to the video, in this episode, this is a rather... I don't know if one could dare describe this one as fictional, but I'd like to think of it as a future fantasy real-life story as this one. Let's say this is set for the year of, say, around about 2025, something like that. And, it's based in Eastbourne, in East Sussex, in England of the United Kingdom. And the owners of Nyx and Potato the cat had come over on holiday from Croatia over to England. And we'd met up a few times. And they only had one more week to go before they were heading back home to Croatia. It was one Saturday where there were no events or no Hove Park Miniature Railway of that sort going ahead. So we decided to eat out for a nice lunch at the Eastbourne Cat Cafe. Being myself, the owners of Nyx and Potato, which is an English comprised of an English man who's the husband, and a crew, and a very lovely, loving, and a greatly loving and extremely lovely Croatian lady, with lovely glowing green eyes and a nice full head of rather dark brown hair, I think it is, either dark brown or dark auburn, something like that. And my best friend David. Ouch. And I was talking to David about them, having spoken to David about the Nyx and Potato YouTube channel, as well as the owners of Nyx and Potato. Well, Nyx and Potato, technically speaking. I thought David might like to see the owners of Nyx and Potato. And David was like, oh, yeah, that'll be brilliant. Let's go ahead and do it. Sorry, David and Kim, if you're watching. No offence, just fancy. But, and yes, once David was all right with it and he was around that weekend, we ended up eating out at the Cat Cafe restaurant. No, the Cat Cafe, sorry, it's not a restaurant. I'm terribly sorry for my mistake. And we were happy. As we entered the Cat Cafe, there were all those cats looking at us, and we were like, I ended up saying, oh, hello, puss cats, hello. I wanted to stroke them, but I was staying on rather the careful side. But the owners of Nyx and Potato, particularly the wife, ended up going, mitz, and wanted to stroke them. And before long, the husband, and also co-operator of the Nyx and Potato channel also, having conversed in a conversation with him once a few times before, as well as with the wife also, they began to take photographs and videos, though not flash photography though. Once David asked the person asking, do you have a reservation booked? David was like, yes, and we were toured to the table. But once we got toured to our tables for the four of us, I ended up asking the person, is it okay if we can stroke the cats? And he was like, yes, yes, of course, just don't be too rough with them. And then we all began tendering affection, stroking them, as well as giving a tickle to some of them. But when one of the cats we began tickling began to start biting, that's when we knew to stop giving it a tickle, but just a stroke instead. Many cats love being stroked, but some cats do not like being stroked, and some cats will scratch if you attempt to stroke it. And as there is a rather violent cat in Croatia, which the owners of Nyx Potato have encountered various times, and the wife has unfortunately been badly scratched many times by it. Sometimes she's like, oh, why? God, this cat. Oh, ow. Why? Naughty, naughty. Before long, as we were stroking the cat, the waiter came walking over towards us. We ordered our food, and whilst awaiting for the meal to be served, we began tendering affection to the cats again, and the person even let us feed the cats some treats and all that. We were most happy, yet elated to have with the experienced moments and all the rest of it. Before long, our meals were served, so we scurried back to our table and began eating our meal. I was sat next to David, and the owners of Nyx Potato, being husband and wife, were sat next to each other opposite myself and David. We began to eat our meal. After we'd eaten our lunch meal, we then paid for the bill of the meal, and before we went, we asked one of the people working at the cafe one last time if we could feed the cats some treats and give them some playful affection. So to make the meal reasonably interesting and fairly the last of the experience of the cat cafe fairly amusing, we respectfully fed the cats some cat treats and began stroking them before exchanging our goodbyes, before the next time we'd be visiting the cat cafe restaurant, as I knew it would be a reasonable while before myself and David would be eating out there again. And the owners of Nyx Potato thought it would be an even longer while before they would be eating out there again, either with myself and David, or just by themselves, or possibly inviting a few friends of their own who live in England within the comprised length and breadth of the United Kingdom. We hopped on the bus, and we exchanged our goodbyes to David after he got out of the bus in Seaford, and myself and the owners of Nyx Potato carried on the bus into Brighton, explored Brighton for a little bit before the shops closed at the certain set time of their closure times, before reopening for the next day of their trading proceedings weeks and all the rest of it. And I exchanged my goodbyes to the Nyx Potato's owners before seeing them the next time, and it was obviously, I knew I had a good 7 days before I got to see them again. And obviously by that point of 2025, the owners of Nyx Potato their channel was already monetized by that point, and most of the YouTube revenue they got from not just the advertisement revenue, but also revenue from super chats and from channel memberships, which gave them both added YouTube revenue income. Yes, yes. But thanks everyone, and we exchanged our goodbyes and waited to see what the next day would bring. The end. Well, thanks everybody for watching. My apologies if I very nearly ended the video at the wrong moment. But thanks everybody for watching. It was really just a fantasy video. I do always very much like to think the Nyx Potato channel would be monetized by 2025. But that's really, when I was saying that their channel was monetized in 2025, that's just fantasy. Because one needs to wait and see what's going to happen with their popularity. And obviously they said, and they did personally tell me, and other people who have been asking what's their plans for reaching monetization. And they're like, any revenue we make, whether it's from advertisement revenue, income, channel memberships, revenue income, or super chats revenue income, they would donate a reasonable amount of it to cats protection trusting charities, or for rehoming stray cats. As far as they did tell me, but I'm sure they will. Both of them will remind me in case I'm very, very wrong. But thanks everybody indeed for watching, and please do subscribe to the Nyx Potato YouTube channel, as the owners of Nyx Potato would certainly very, very greatly appreciate the subscriptions. But yes, although they don't upload videos regularly, they do upload videos at least fairly sporadically, just to say. Sometimes it's not always just of Nyx and Potato, their cats. Sometimes they take video of stray cats they help out, or sometimes stray cats, or sometimes they take videos of their friends' cats or other cats, neighbourhood cats that come out and that come over to them, and they like tendering affection to it and all that. I've seen many neighbourhood cats or village cats in my hometown who almost likely belong to an owner, but are like going out and about on the street just for a little exploring wander about, and sometimes I end up stroking them and all that. Yes, yes. Thanks all indeed for watching, and ta-ta another time. From Foxy.